Hey everybody, Dave here from Charest Studios, and today I'm out in the yard and I've got a bunch of dandelions coming up, and I've eaten the roots and the leaves before, but I was watching a video on YouTube here by Learn Your Land, and he was sharing about how wonderful the flowers are and how they might be the most nutritional and most healthiest part of the whole plant. So I'm going to pick some today to put in my juice, but I also, it's a beautiful day today, and it's the first day that I took out my solar dehydrator. So I thought I'd pick a bunch for my juice, add some to my green juice today, and also put some in the solar dehydrator. So I figured I'd show you guys that while I'm doing this little video about this and that. I'm going to be doing a little update on some tatsoi that I grew in a coffee can, and I wanted to I'm going to pick some of my alfalfa that I grew in the microgreens planter for my juice today, and I wanted to show you guys an update on that because it's really gotten large, and I'm going to cut it and use it for juice, but I'm going to see if it'll grow back a second time, because I know they cut it when they grow it in the ground. They cut it a few times over the season, and we'll see how it goes. So anyway, we got a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I figured I'd take you guys along and show you what I'm up to, update you on a few things. I got some broccoli rabe also in one of my grow pipes with the new grommets, and that's looking pretty good, so we'll take a look at that. So anyway, yeah, just a little bit of this and that. I hope you're all well, and let's get into it. So as you guys can see, I have no shortage of dandelions here. And I'm just going to go ahead and try to fill up this colander. So I'm going to go around the yard. This is one nice little patch here, but I've got them all around the yard. We don't spray anything or anything like that. We just kind of we have so many wild edibles in the yard that you know, I hate to hurt them, or plus yeah, I just I don't like using any kind of chemicals on anything, and plus, like I say, you're able to use so many of these things are so good for you. We have the nettles in the yard, we have wild lettuce, we have wild chamomile, I think we have cleavers, we have purslane, so lots of stuff, probably more too. So here is the solar dehydrator that I made last year. I have a video on this, how to make these. And here's the temperature right now. So it's 102 in there. 125 is the temperature I'd like it to get to. But between 102 and 125, anywhere in between there is great. And we're only at, I don't know what it is, about 11 o'clock in the morning. So I have all these dandelions here. I'm just going to go ahead and let me open this up for you guys. Okay, so I'm just going to dump these in and spread them around. Typically the top part of this dehydrator will get hotter, so I'll put stuff up more near the top. And I have room for a lot more, so but this was most of what I had out in the yard now. I'm sure I could go dig up a little bit more. But that's a start, and then I can dry these out, and then you know, as more, there were a lot more buds, so there'll be a lot more of these coming out in the next day or two, and I'll add to this. It doesn't matter if they're face up or face down. I'm just trying to make sure there's space in between them all, and I'm putting them up just because it'll look better for the picture, but it doesn't really matter which way they are. I'm going to flip them around a little bit after they've been in there a little while. You just don't want them clumped up too close to each other. You want airflow all the way around. And that's it. So we'll close it up. Got the dandelions in there, and you know, it's been a couple hours now, so I'm just going to check the temperature and see what we got. It's about I think it's about 1:30, and we've got 108 on here. 125 is the set temperature. I guess that's where it'll alarm or something. I'm not familiar with this thermometer that much, but this is the temperature. I set it at 125 just because that's where I want it to be. I don't want it to get much hotter than that, so I could vent it more if I need to, if it reached over that. But we're at a 108, which is a good temperature. I'm going to open it up just to show you guys. I know you had seen when I put them in there, but I just want to see if they've done anything at all yet in the couple hours. Oh yeah, they're much smaller. A couple of them stuck to the... They're much smaller than they were when I put them in there. So let me show you guys some of the stuff I got going here. It's still early in the season, so I don't have a lot, and but here's some broccoli rabe with the grow pipe, with the new grommets that I put in, and I'll have a complete video of this start to finish on the grow because I have when I planted it. These stems are pretty much taking up the whole grommet, but I don't think they're going to get a whole lot bigger than that. So I think it's going to work out okay with those. I'd say this broccoli rabe probably has another few weeks to go. I planted this pipe with some giant red mustard greens. Usually I plant this pipe with kale, this longer pipe. Some of them kind of didn't do too well, but it looks like they're still alive, so I'll leave them going. And I do have the microgreens are still growing, so if I need to, I can pull a couple more. This is a radish experiment here. We just have the radish growing down into the half-gallon mason jar, and that's the same thing here. Is the radish is going down into the half-gallon mason jar. Same thing here. We cut the bottom of these out, and there's a few plants. These I'm just going to put some slits in these store-bought plant cups with my soldering iron. I'll probably just leave the plant right in there and use my soldering iron, run some strips down, and then just drop them in my hole that's in the bucket cover already from last year. So I'll do that with these tomatoes and peppers. I'll probably prune these peppers too, even though they already have some buds there. If we prune these, we'll get even more peppers later. I have a few kohlrabi here that were just started, and I just dropped them in a little hole. You guys who watch the channel know I just put a little 1/4-inch hole in there, and then I cut an X across it with the utility knife so that it can open up as it needs to. And I had one of these kohlrabis a couple years ago, and I have a video on purple kohlrabi in the coffee can, and it did really well. So I had a nice big kohlrabi sitting on top of the coffee can, and the greens got pretty big. So that's a few things that I have going here on the table, and you know, I have some stuff in the house as well. So I mentioned in earlier in the video about, or in my previous video, I can't remember, but the radishes were growing in the half-gallon mason jars that I'm trying, and I had cut the bottom out, but I had mentioned, yeah, it was in my previous video, that a viewer had mentioned that he made this to cut the this punch to cut the bottom of the basket out so the radish could grow through there. So I thank the viewer, Dave, for sending this out for me. I'm going to try it out right now because somebody else who was one of the viewers was interested in seeing how this worked. So I'm just going to place it in there and give it a tap with the hammer. I'm trying to place it. It's you could see that ring down there, that ring, and this fits right about where that ring is. So I'm trying to just place it nice and evenly. I think this is a 1-inch punch. Oh yeah, it was probably done way before I stopped banging on it. So that worked really well, and if it took out a little more, my particular type of cup, if it took out a little more, these would probably flex too. But anyway, that should be big enough for the radish to go out. And I think it worked really quite nice. So here's the arugula, which I started not that long ago, so it's still babies. It's not doing that great yet. It's gonna take a little while to get adjusted. But there's the alfalfa back there in the grow pipe. You can see that I put kind of a trellis of strings across this wooden frame, and it's looking like it's doing pretty well. So here's a beautiful tatsoi I did in this plastic coffee can. It really did beautifully, and I think it even spread out more and got wider than the ones that I grew in the narrower coffee cans, the 1-quart coffee cans. Like I have the smaller ones back there. Yeah, so these nice big wide ones, they seem to do better for things like the tatsoi. And here is my the alfalfa microgreens that I just kept going, and they're starting to have some yellowing leaves down the bottom here, and I think I'm going to cut these back to use them in my juice and see if they'll grow again. That's it for today, so thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions or comments, leave them below in the comment section and I'll get back to you. Remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.